So, welcome back to Your Asian Besties. Today, we'll be talking about, this sounds weird. I don't want to say midlife, but midlife, here we are.
Owning it. Look how good midlife looks.
I know. We don't look 40, do we? Um, and specifically around professional and personal growth. I think it's interesting because while I'm still working at a company, Ray and Maryn are like their own driving forces for what professional and personal means to them. So I'm curious. I've always found it motivating to kind of visualize, like, what do I want to be doing next? Or, in 5 years, in 10 years, what experiences do I want to have to feel like, I've accomplished what I want to accomplish in a company setting and outside of it. But I'm curious to hear from you both, whether you're that intentional about it. How do you, define or how do you figure out for yourselves, like, if you're growing in the way you want to? Do you think about it at all? Do you just go with the flow? And who wants to start?
Ray?
Maryn, I think you should start because I think you're the one with an active business.
I mean, I think I've jumped off the ladder, so I'm definitely not the spokesperson for this. I feel like I've maybe thought that way more when I was working in corporate, like, oh, what's the next title and la la la. You're kind of thinking about the strategy of it all. I feel like now at this point in my life, I mean, we're expecting our first child, so I just think I'm thinking about it more holistically. And just like our past episode on matrescence, embracing that side more and thinking about motherhood and what's going to work for my life and what is going to set a positive example for my kid and fulfill me, so I'm not like a bitter workaholic person, and so, yeah, I think of it more in terms of that. And like, I'm definitely going to lean more into the family motherhood life and let that be a source of fulfillment for me. And I feel like I'm in a good place too with my small business. Like, I really love it. And so I think my perspective has been more like just in the present. I haven't been as forward thinking and maybe as ambitious as I have been, in the past. But just thinking like, what's going to work for my lifestyle. And, I don't know how much of it was my mom's passing, but I just feel like I'm trying to be more present and just like, she always said, like, do things that fill your spirit. Like, am I doing that now? Do I feel like it's right in my soul and my body of where I'm at? And I do feel that way. I feel like the timing, even though it seems late for a lot of people of having my first kid at 40, like, I just feel that it was meant to happen at this time. I don't think I was ready any other time. And there's kind of like a bit of a flow that has happened for me, like with the pregnancy, and even with work. Like, I went hard, in the second trimester because I knew I would have more energy. And it's kind of like just all working out somehow, even as the world burns around us. We always have to mention that. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
In spite of it.
Yeah. And I think we all know examples of people who have jumped the ladder or who are on the ladder and are questioning and feeling unfulfilled. And so I think it's a good perspective to have, is just like, consider like the full picture of your life, with the career being a piece of it, but not everything,
Yeah. What about you, Ray?
Well, I wanted to know about your opinions first, Leah, like, because you're actually...
She did a double deflection.
Right. Holding
She's ballsy today.
Maybe she's going to have a coughing fit, so...
No. Well, no, I was curious because you were talking directly about career laddering, and I thought, like, I'm so outside of this ballpark. I feel like that I thought your perspective might be more relevant.
She burned the ladder down. I jumped off the ladder. Ray burned it down.
Right, but I mean, you're kind of like stepping into like in the ladder of life. Like, parenthood is like a rung.
Okay, okay.
of a
I'll talk.
certain
I'll
letter.
talk. You guys
Just
have
thinking it was just
bullied
fun.
me into talking.
Oh no.
No, no, no. I mean, just joking. I think so. I actually have kind of been thinking about my career again because I've realized that I how do I say this? I love my daughter and I very much respect and appreciate my role as a mother who is shaping her childhood and her life. I feel like how I can best utilize my skills in creating the change that I want for her to see and live in the future. Yes, I will be actively parenting her, but I think what I want to do is to help people who are already creating the world that I want to live in do that more effectively or to amplify that. And so I kind of want to go back in to the workforce. And but I know that, like my extended maternity leave is coming to an end in the fall. And so right now, what I'm doing is I'm reaching out to a lot of people who I already think are making the changes that I want to see in the world. And I'm volunteering my time and my effort and my skills to sort of not just help them, but also to build up my skills that I can utilize when I'm back in the workforce. And so I think my big picture is now that I'm in my midlife and have had my, personal revolution, my political revolution, all of the revolutions, is that I really want to make more of a conscious effort to be part of the solution and not a lot of the problems. And I'm kind of doing it in a very unconventional way because of the privileges that I do have, that I actually can volunteer my time and that I have affordable daycare here in Korea to be able and trustworthy, affordable daycare, and that there are no guns in Korea, right? Okay, I'm gonna try not to keep going that route.
It's
But
okay.
I know
Be you.
I kind of feel bad, but just generally because I have the supports that I need in order to work on my career again, I am choosing to live by my values because I actually have some of the privileges to be able to do that. I know not everybody does. And so I hope this doesn't come off as like shaming people who don't have some of those supports to be able to live by their values because society is not set up that way. So, yes, I would love to know, Leah, like how you are dealing with your career now in your midlife. And I kind of, I don't know, midlife, we're in our 40s. I mean,
Well,
my
working life goes to
grandparents.
like 60s. I mean,
Oh,
yes,
that's
like you
true.
could,
Oh, career midlife.
yeah,
Okay, I like
career
that.
midlife. Yeah, sorry, not like
Yeah.
or mortality.
Yeah, just
Gosh,
to
yeah.
clarify for our older audience. Haha.
Oh, yes, please clarify. Sorry, yes, I meant like just when you think about like, yeah, what can you contribute to the world, right? I mean, ultimately, that's what work is. Yes, like because of where we live, you kind of do need to make a salary. But outside of that, right, I think there is something fulfilling about work. Um, for me, so this started before that we started the recording. I was mentioning that at my work, I was developing a career ladder for my team, what that is just identifying, like, how do you state that someone's at a level 4 and what gets them to a level 5? What competency should they be showing? What is evidence of that, right? Not to go deep into career ladders, but I've also seen my overall work as that. Like, I have different phases or seasons of my life. Yes, I design, and also, now I've started to paint. I started to do like life and career coaching. And I've started to see analogies in the last couple of years, right, of like multi-passionate entrepreneurs who create, I've heard analogies like a career portfolio or a career playground where you don't have to move up so linearly, right, until you decide to jump off. But it's kind of like when you're curious about something else, go there, right? Like, you don't have to be stuck as whatever you started your career in. And it's becoming more natural to make those transitions, whether it's through networking, whether it's, taking courses or creating your own projects. I feel like now in this day and age, at least for certain, like roles and careers, it can be pretty easy to kind of move into a different space or area of, making a living out of something. And I think for me, what I've found in myself is every few years or so, I gravitate towards something. I want to learn about it. I learn enough of it, and then I get bored and I want to move on. And I think that's hit me even more so now in midlife, where I'm like, I don't want to waste my time. I want to be doing something, to Maryn's point, right? Like, that feels very good, feels very aligning. I feel blessed right now to have a job that has a mission I'm aligned with, lets me do things like express my creativity, plan and strategize, and help others get better at their jobs, and to me, I felt more content with letting go some other parts of my life than I used to because I wasn't feeling that fulfilled. But then I do miss doing stuff with my hands, hence, collecting all the hobbies. But that's kind of like jumping, from the slides to the swing, or, coloring another page of like all the things I can do. So yeah, I guess it sounds like, Ray, you're motivated by your values and you have this vision of the impact you want to make. And Maryn, it sounds like you have that same thing as well. But right now, I mean, becoming a mother is that for you. So yeah, I guess I'm curious, like, how intentional is that? Maryn, like, even for you, like 10, 20 years down the line, baby's gonna go to college. Like, then what, How do you balance the two? Do you, like, step on the gas in motherhood, let the business go back, right? Like, what does it feel like to you? Is it like a 50-50? Like, are you just like, I'm going to stay in the present? How do you plan or decide not to plan for those things? I'm curious, right? How often does this cross your mind?
It's hard. I mean, I think it's hard. Like, we grew up thinking about, oh yeah, where are you going to be in 5 years, 10 years, whatever. But the world is so uncertain, like, even day to day.
Very true.
I mean, it's just a roller coaster. Like, I can't even remember, what happened months ago. Like, so I think that's what makes it hard to plan. And so I think I've adapted to that environment where it's like there are no guarantees. And so how can I just best manage my mental health, my emotional health, my spiritual health, my physical health in this moment now? Like, how can I create some safety? How can I, feel good like this week? I don't know if that's just like a coping thing or a survival thing, but that's definitely where I'm at. Like, I can't even imagine, like, even through the pregnancy, I've just tried to be very, like, in the moment of like, okay, what am I going through now? There is some planning involved, but it's like, I don't have this picture perfect idea of, what it's going to be like, because I just feel I don't really know. And I just have to be along for the ride and kind of trust that I have the wisdom and that if I need to figure stuff out, I'll figure it out. So, that's kind of where I'm at. But it was a goal for me before I had a child to find something more fulfilling.
Mm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I would lose some of that freedom with having a child, and I wouldn't
Yeah.
have as much time to explore and kind of start something new. And so I think that's what made me feel more at peace about having a child now, where I feel like I am in a good place. And like you said, it is kind of a combination of different things. It's like, yes, it's engaging my creativity, being an artist, but it's also very community based. It's very based in, my culture and like reclaiming my connection to that
Mm.
culture. And so I also encourage, like, what I echo what Leah said. It's just like, I think the term is like multi potentialite, where it's just like you're a cross pollinator and you can explore all your different interests. And then if you kind of just keep moving in that direction, sometimes there'll be a way where you can start integrating those things, and that kind of becomes your superpower a little
Yeah.
bit. So it's not about like trying to compartmentalize and silo everything. It's
Right.
about like, how do you integrate your full life, like your hobbies, your lifestyle, your family, your career, in a way that works for you.
100%. And I wanted to add to this also, I think what I'm seeing in the I think, Leah, you were talking about like creating competencies, like creating categories for where do you need to be to get to where you want to go next. And how, Maryn, you were talking about how you're just living the moment because everything is so uncertain in the future. And something that gave me a lot of comfort was I think it was either yesterday or the day before. Pete Buttigieg and Heather Cox Richardson, they had a conversation and they were talking about this new democracy, and she was asking him these questions of like, well, what would you want to see when we recreate and we start rebuilding? And that gave me a lot of hope. First of all, they're such excellent communicators and so well versed in history, and they were so civil. They were so civil with each other, and it was just so nice to see people who are knowledgeable, like saying that a future can be rebuilt, you know? And so I've just kind of been seeing that parallel in the independent research that I'm doing with, the education reform project, in that there are so many things in the world that we need to reimagine from the point of giving everybody a voice and acknowledging that every perspective is valid, and that everything has a belonging in our society. And so I've just kind of been thinking, I think you already acknowledged that it is like I am building towards a future that is aligned with my values, but
Oh.
but I just kind of think like, as we build towards the future, it's very difficult, challenging to wonder if there is going to be a tomorrow. But I think that it would it's very helpful for me, at least, to think about what would happen in the future that we do want to see. And so in that future that I do want to see, I want to imagine where we lead with joy and curiosity, and that we, like you said, Maryn, have that ability to integrate all of ourselves into what we do rather than extracting one's value for the sake of, billionaires profiting. So that's kind of the future that I'm hoping and building towards. And so, yeah,
I like that. That's an
it's hard.
optimistic. It's hard, but
It's too
it's
optimistic.
optimistic. No, it's great. No, I'm an optimist. So yes, good.
I'm
Let's
not.
hope for the future. You can build it. You can you can be practical about it. As long as it gets built, I'll be happy. Um, what was I gonna say? I had a follow-up question. Um, I guess this kind of leads, I think, more towards life then. Once again, we're in our 40s. Not that old, but what would you say? I mean, I wouldn't say halfway through our lives yet, but a third? I don't know. Anyway, we don't have to quantify it. But do you have a bucket list? And if so, is there something that you're like, I need to do this in like the next 5 or 10 years, or something that you hope to do before you go?
Hmm. I'll just start. Like I've mentioned several times now that I'm so scared of death. I've been very afraid of it. And I've been having really constructive conversations around this. And I've been thinking about how that all leads to this fear that I'm not doing enough,
Mm.
and how I feel like my perfectionism is what is getting in the way of me dying, or like my perfectionism won't let me die, is basically what I'm realizing. The things that I would really like to do or complete by the time that I do no longer am no longer here is, one, I do want to see, I want to create something that allows people to see that uh, there is more than one right answer to our spirituality, and to show that the afterlife or the spiritual realm does coexist of so many perspectives. So that's one project, one series that I've been writing for a while. And then and then but ultimately all the projects that I think I am working on are about belonging and inclusion. And so at this point, I have sort of abandoned the idea of the bucket list, because there are several on there, but I don't know how long I will be here. I am working towards, since all of those projects are about belonging and inclusion and diversity, I just sort of am trying to do every day what gets me closer to that goal in the capacity that I have that day or that week. So right now I'm planning um, days, like hours, days, weeks, and maybe a couple months, but that's about as far as I'm looking out.
Yeah, I just say ditto to what Ray said. Yeah, I don't think I actually am at the point in my life, I guess being midlife or whatever, that I've crossed a lot of things off my list.
Mm,
I feel like I've traveled, I've had a lot of experiences, I've lived in other places, I've had a lot of different career,
mm,
journeys, and I am at the place now where I'm like, look, I'm kind of looking forward to the mundane, settled life and just going deeper rather than kind of like growing more vertically versus like
Yeah.
more horizontally. I don't feel like I need a bunch of stimulus. Like I'm pretty content with where I'm at. So if anything, it's definitely like motherhood is the big thing that's on my list. That's
mm-hmm,
It's
ahead of me
huge.
and it's going to be a very big commitment.
It's big.
mm-hmm,
And just trying to sustain the things that I've already, like the seeds that
yeah,
I've already planted,
Yeah.
because I think I'm on the right track and I just want to keep going and see where that journey leads. Um, yeah. What about you, Leah? I know you have actual things on your bucket list.
yeah,
I do. Well, but I was gonna say, I mean, Ray, to your point, I think I was gonna say, like, what is the scariest part of death? And like, I
mm-hmm,
don't know if either of you watched Hamilton, but the musical, but essentially is that like he does all this because like he's afraid that he's gonna die soon, so you know. And then I was watch this other documentary musical, Tick Tick Boom, about
oh
Jonathan
yes,
Larson. Yeah,
yeah,
same thing, right? Like he was just like in panic mode. He's like, I'm turning 30. There's a whole song about him turning 30. And he's like, and you know, like I'm not famous yet. Like I haven't made it yet. And like so and so made it when they were 27. And you know, anyway, so I don't know, like I think that's the biggest fear of death for me as well, is like there's so much more I want to get done. One of those things, writing a book, I've started, I've stopped, I've written drafts of it, and I'm like, why don't I just like publish the thing and get the thing done? So maybe there is perfectionism in there too. And you know, and it's like coming back to this body of work, right? I'm like, is that the legacy I want to leave? Like some, you know, romantic fiction book? I don't know. But, and then, yes, I want like a vacation home and like my whole studio. And I have all these dreams about, you know, how my art and my coaching and design come together. And then how do I do that, you know, full time eventually, or all of that. And then I think for me, the driving value is creativity and instilling in my kids like different ways to express that for themselves. Like if there's something that you love and want to do, how do you identify that? And how do we unblock that for you as best we can? And I'll give one quick anecdote and hand it over, but so my daughter's always been great about like at home, like singing and dancing. Like I've gotten them into like different musicals, like they'll watch the movies and, you know, burst out. And like, but there's like something about like the way she did it. I'm like, she would, you know, like I want to see her on stage. Right. And she refused. She's shy. You know, she never wants to do anything like that outside. So there was a theater camp coming up. We ended up signing her up for it. And the way we did it to get her to say yes is we bribed her with a kid, which we have now. I don't recommend it as like a parenting tip unless, you know, I think my intent was to more break her out of that comfort zone because this idea of going to theater camp was so overwhelming for her, right? It was an instant no. You know, and I think it's one of those things, like my husband and I have talked about it for years. It's like, we just need to get her to try it for 1 year, you know, like just for a couple of weeks, right? And I think it's one of those moments as a parent, you're like, am I really going to traumatize, you know, our daughter for life? Or is this something that she's going to come out of it and be like, I'm glad you did that, you know, like maybe in 10 years. And it was one of those things, you know, we would watch her kind of shy away from a lot of these opportunities. And the kitten thing works, so she's in theater camp now. She went through 3 days so far and loves it, has been dancing it, has been singing it. And then, you know, she did say she's scared of being on stage next Saturday. So, you know, I'm still curious to see like how that goes. But anyway, I think part of a parent, right, is how do you safely find ways for them to at least be able to entertain their passions or see something as a possibility when, you know, and it's a risk, right? I think that's part of learning too. Like, how far do we push? Like, what's okay? You know, like, you know, and yeah, so parenthood.
Oh man, parenthood. It's kind of crazy because I think in many ways you have to live just for the moment. But I see what you're saying about like building those muscles and the confidence to go out of your comfort zone. And I just kind of wonder, like, what is our responsibility as parents, as educators, and as sort of guides to the next generation to set up a positive understanding of career? And how does values come into that equation when it traditionally hasn't before? So, yeah, I mean, there are lots of questions here and a lot of things that we raised, and I think we could probably revisit this.
Yeah, it could maybe be
Hopefully.
the part two is how to like
Yeah.
nurture it in
Yeah.
children. Because something you can tell your daughter is that I think there's a lot of like working, even famous performers that still get nervous and still, you know what I mean? So
True.
just
Yeah, no
that
one
it's,
gets over
yeah.
it, but you take that
Yeah.
Right.
first step.
Yeah, and especially if you're on the growth path, it's like you're always learning and stuff. So you can always
Yeah.
be in that place of like being a little uncertain, you know, if you are pushing yourself.
Yeah. And I think that's the big takeaway, right? It's finding the opportunity or knowing it's available to you, right? I think that's the first and foremost. The curiosity about something, knowing it's even a possibility or what version of that, right, does honor your values. And then, you know, to your point, right, how do you integrate all the parts of yourself to find something fulfilling? Right? Whether that's career, whether it's just general life, whether it's what you want to teach your kids. I felt like growing up, I didn't realize how many choices I had about what I would do for a living, what interested me. I didn't really think about those things that I do now. And had I would have started way sooner. So,
I feel like it comes down to the growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And
True.
I know like I was raised more with that fixed mindset of, you know, you're afraid to fail, you're afraid to try things because people are asking you like, what do you want to be when you're just a kid?
Yeah.
But I think with my kid, it's just like when you're young, like try everything, like just
Yes.
fail all the time because that's how you get to the point of figuring out what your talents are.
Exactly.
But that like pressure of perfectionism and like we've talked about being Asian women, it limits us because we didn't explore and we didn't feel that freedom to explore as much when we were younger. So I really hope that for my kids that they'll be able to experience a lot more.
I love that. So there you have it in a nutshell. You know, that's where we're at in our 40s, thinking about professional and personal life. Thank you, ladies, for sharing. So join our community at Your Asian Besties and subscribe on Spotify. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. See you next time.